Hello everyone. Today I'll be giving my speech on why Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time. Since arriving at Alabama, he's known for having the best recruiting classes. Nick Saban is also known for his ability to embrace change and implement new strategies to overcome any obstacle thrown his way. This is the reason why Alabama football team is constantly winning and one of his biggest assets. And then you have the amount of national championships and his winning record versus losing record and his NFL player success. He started, his coaching career early on at multiple colleges, but the climb to the top of the ladder didn't start until he coached at Alabama. It all started with, the 2008 recruiting class. Coach Saban is one of the greatest college football recruiters of all time. His recruiting class from Alabama has always been star-studded since he's arriving on campus. Saban had to rebuild when he first got to Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama because the coach before didn't have so much success with recruiting. So Saban brought in as much in-state talent as he could to build Alabama's program. His pitch to them was, if they came to Alabama, they would, be the mecca, the face of college football again, and they needed to help him get there. Under Nick Saban, the Alabama Crimson Tide football team has had top 5 recruiting classes since 2008. So that's since he arrived at Alabama. So once he started building these recruiting classes and getting his recruits, he started, winning. He won his first national championship in 2009, and then it just went from there. He won multiple championships after that. Once getting all those top recruiting classes and winning all the national championships and having so much success, everybody had a bullseye on Alabama football team's back. So what Nick Saban had to do was start, planning and having a better strategy for these teams that put a bullseye on his back. They would come at him in different ways in recruiting and coaching strategy. If you know Nick Saban, he's never satisfied and is always working to tweak his strategy from recruiting, coaching, and the overall experience at Alabama. Other schools try to, counteract Saban and his recruiting tactics by saying he won't be able to coach much longer, he can't develop quarterbacks, and he doesn't play freshmen. But he goes out and responds. Last year he was dancing in a recruit's house, showing him he still had the young gene. He'll be around for a lot longer. And then, like I said, coaches say he don't develop quarterbacks. What Saban do? He goes out, he gets Tua Tagovailoa, and he develops him into a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, 2020 NFL draft. And he plays numerous freshmen every year, so he proves all his doubters wrong. He proves all the other coaches wrong. But like I said, winning was getting harder and harder. The coaches started planning their game style around how to beat Alabama because there was a mecca of college football. So what they did is they developed, new strategies like the spread offense, where it's more pass-oriented instead of run-oriented. And Saban, when he first got to Alabama, was building a run-oriented defense to stop the run. And what he ended up having to do was adapt to that and make his defense more pass-oriented. So instead of big, heavy defensive linemen, he went out and got, slim, fast defensive linemen and slim defensive players. According to the New York Times, during the segment of Alabama's dynasty, the 3 national titles won in the seasons from 2009 to 2012, the Crimson Tide defense sacrificed speed for size, bulldozing teams, holding Louisiana State to no points in one title game and Notre Dame to 14 in the next. In recent years, Though, like I said, Alabama has come to the realization that speed, even more than size, kills. So Saban was able to overcome any adversity thrown at him, whether it was from recruiting strategy or on the field gameplay. This is what led to him to being the most successful college football coach we've ever seen in this era, and that I've ever seen. A couple other things, his record, his NFL player success, it just speaks volume on how much, how great Nick Saban is. I'm going to go over a couple of accomplishments that I got off of SportsIllustrated.com. And the first one would be, number one, I'm going to go over 10 that stand out to me. Saban's winning percentage of 817 in regular season conference games is on pace to shatter the SEC record set by numerous coaches. Number two, Alabama has defeated 82 straight unranked opponents, 10 more than any program in college football history. Number three, since 2008, the Crimson Tide has lost just once to a team outside the top 15 in the AP top 25. Every other program in college football has lost at least 10 during the same time period. Number four, Alabama has been ranked at number one at some point of every season since 2008, since he arrived on campus. Number five, the last time the Alabama Crimson Tide wasn't ranked number one in the AP top 25 was against Auburn in 2015. It's been first in 45 of the last 48 polls, with 3 exceptions of being in the postseason. Number six, Saban has won 46 of his last 48 games at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That is ridiculous. Number seven, when Alabama went into November undefeated, it marked the 11th straight season the Crimson Tide didn't have more than one loss heading into the final month of regular season. Number seven, Saban has coached 75 games in which has his team ranked number one. He's 68-7 with a 90.7 winning percentage. He's closing on doubling the most number of wins by anyone else, as Bobby Bowden and Woody Hayes are both second of all-time list with 40. So, and then number 10, he also has the most wins against top 5 teams with 23. So all these things combined, make Saban so great. And he's on his way to win his 7th national championship, which would be more than any other college football coach ever. And then here's a couple more facts on him. According to BamaHammer.com, he has a record for most first-round picks of the NFL draft. He is set to keep adding to those numbers in 2020. Alabama leads the league with 56 players currently in the NFL on the NFL rosters. According to Sports Illustrated, Nick Saban has a coaching tree of developing assistant coaches and the head coaches. He has so many coaches in the NFL, so many players in the NFL. All this adds up to being Nick Saban being the GOAT. And when I say GOAT, greatest of all time. No other coach compares to him. He has such a good winning percentage. He has so many accomplishments he achieves. He develops his players. He develops his coaches on and off the field. He makes them great men. And this is why Nick Saban's so good. When you watch a college football game, if you watch Alabama, remember this speech and let me know if you can think of anybody who can do it better than Nick Saban. Thanks, everyone.